As you can see here, the tenant lived in the basement. Let's make sure you can see that. So as you can see, there's no graffiti on the walls here. Before he moved in, no lights. As you can see, he graffiti all over the walls, all over the walls. And here you see just graffiti everywhere. Graffiti everywhere. Just all over the walls, like pictures, covers removed. And just graffiti. Well, it's graffiti. I don't know why that drywall is on the floor. And the thumbnail of this stream is kind of how the room looked. And then this was a guy, again, this is a guy that just worked for me. And I'll give you guys some pointers while I'm at it. If you notice right here, that's a concrete wall. Ain't much you can do to that unless you take a jackhammer. You notice here again, concrete wall. All we can do is spray on them, spray paint on the curtains, whatever. But again, in the basement, you know, I never put up drywall. As little as possible. Leave the natural stone. This is only drywall here. This is drywall, but that's just covering my waterproofing. So it's the only reason there's drywall on that wall right there. You can see again, just basic general stupid destruction here. Why he took the doorknob off the door, I don't know. It's general trash. Again, not bad at all. I don't think anyone would say it's all that bad. Not that bad. Make sure you can hear me here. And again, why he took the bed apart, I'm not quite sure. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But he took the bed apart. As you can see, this was a futon here. I don't know why he would take the bed apart. It's a lot of effort to even take it apart. Maybe he decided not to sleep on the bed. But you can see the mattress is here. The mattress is here. I don't even see the frame to the bed anymore. I wonder what he did to the frame. Not that I care, beds are cheap. It's just interesting. What did he do to the frame of the bed? And so, you know, I've talked to you guys about DC and how DC is very expensive. And one of the things that typically the guests or tenants, whatever they want, is a private bath. So let's take a look at the bathroom here. He left this generally pretty clean. Generally pretty clean. You know, again, this is a guy that worked for me, so he more or less lived here free as part of his compensation. So generally pretty clean. Not bad. Not bad. Listen, I really can't complain with this, right? That's the toilet. And one of the things is he had a water leak. The toilet was running. So I will give him enough credit for cutting the water off. So I won't cut the water back on right now since there is a leak apparently in the toilet. I can fix that. And then this is the sink, right? I don't know what was going on here. Anyway, I found a nickel on the floor. I'll keep that. And here's just the general trash. The general trash left over. You kind of see. Oh, look at this. What kind of shoes are those? What's that? Like an Air Jordan. Air Jordan. There's another pair of sneakers. Like some Adidas or something. Adidas. Honey cheese. That's what else is left there. What else is left? This is, you know, honestly, I will say, this ain't even that bad. Hey, man, I've had people damage the TVs. TV's not damaged. Not at all. The desk, he could have broken the desk. That's not damaged at all. Yeah. But again, this is probably as bad as it gets typically. It could have been a whole lot worse. Not even a hole in the wall anywhere. Not even a hole in the wall anywhere. Okay. Not even a hole. There's a lot of graffiti. Just paint over that, prime it up, paint over it, and there you go. You kind of just see all the graffiti going up the walls here. And there you go. There you go. There you go. Anyway, so this is kind of out in the stream here. We go back over to the other stream, but this is just an idea of how tenants will sometimes move out. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is that, I mean, drywall is cheap. It's just the labor, or in this case, just the paint over all of this stuff. So you have to properly prime it. But one of the bigger things I want to point out to you is, you know, I tried my best to minimize the damage that people can do. They can do a lot of damage in the bathroom. So you have to really hope that people don't do that. Typically, they don't do that because they use that same bathroom. But the walls and stuff, they can really do a lot of damage to walls. But they can't do much damage to concrete walls. And I think concrete walls is really what, benefited me down here from, having more graffiti or something like that on the wall. But anyway, that is this basement with a private bath. Again, I'll show you that one more time. And there is the private bath. It's not a bad private bath when cleaned up and everything. Anyway, if anyone wants to ask any questions, feel free. Hop on and ask a question. Otherwise, I'll end the stream and let you guys take over back on the other stream here. Oh, by the way, this is the door to my laundry in the back door back there. So he had access to the laundry. I don't let anybody else wash their clothes, but I sometimes use it as like my secondary laundry facility up on this side of town. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. If you have any questions, comments, you can put them in the chat. I'll try my best to answer those. Let's see, we have someone up here. Oh, it's Portia. What's up, Portia?
Hey, John, how long did he stay there?
Oh, you know what, Portia? Here's the interesting thing. I would say he lived upstairs for a little while, right? And so, remember, he worked for me. This is the white guy that you saw in the stream when the Thorpes were here. And, we talked about Universal Jones. I just said I don't want him working for me anymore for various reasons. But at that point, I had moved him down into the basement before, I fired him. And so he probably was down here for maybe, 9 months or so. But for the last 6 months, he didn't pay any rent. And, I had fired him. So, you have to give him I felt the need to give him a little grace. But the other part is he's handy enough to have destroyed more than what he did, as you can see here. This is trivial, right? Most of this I'll just throw away and paint over. Most of this stuff I'll just, paint over, and I'll throw little stuff like this away. It's just totally destroyed. I don't know what that was. Looks like a form of mirror. Oh, that's the mirror that used to be up on the wall. So it's totally destroyed, but it's mostly trash and, more than
John, John, also, how much did you charge him per month to stay?
Well, this was part of his compensation. So remember, he used to live upstairs in a room in this house where he would share a bathroom with other guests. But then I gave him like a bump in pay, I guess you could say, and that I gave him a private bathroom, a place to stay with a private bathroom. And so this was his private bathroom. He didn't have to share this with anyone else. When he lived upstairs, he had to share a bathroom with, 5 or 6 other people. So typically, I guess if you were to put it in monetary terms, I would rent this place probably for about $1,200 to $1,500 a month. Minimum $1,200. On average, probably about $15. Depends on the season because it has a private bath, and so that was kind of built into his income as well as we paid him $600 a week. So he's making pretty damn good money when you factor in his living accommodations, you know. And it came all furnished for him: the bed, the TV, and he didn't have to pay any utilities, Wi-Fi, nothing like that. So that's basically it right there. Well, anyway, guys, I think I'll end the stream and we can go back over to the other channel of the stream. Just wanted to let you guys take a look at how tenants will move out
So,
from time to
John,
time.
one
Yeah.
last thing.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Portia. What you say?
Um, so he did that graffiti. He did the graffiti
Yeah, he did the graffiti.
because it kind of looks like it kind of goes.
Yeah, you know what? Let me show you this. So he was very artistic. He was from Baltimore. And so he did this on the wall. And this, you see this capital? You see
Yeah,
that?
that's pretty dope.
I mean, yeah, I ain't a big fan of it, but it's different. People come in, they don't feel like they're just at home. So you put this on the wall. So he had some creative talents, and he could build a lot of stuff. I give him that much credit. So he was very, very, very handy. But he was an Antifa like anarchist. Uh, Even though he was very skilled and would have done very well in a capitalist society, he wanted to bring it all down. So of course he hated Donald Trump, of course. Yeah. And here's the room he used to live in. He used to live in this room.
Yeah, like they're saying that they love the doors and the color scheme. I don't know if he went away, if he dropped off.
Sorry about that, Push. Oh, let me change the camera around. So what were you saying, Push?
Oh, I was saying that the people on the panel on the other stream were saying that they like the the colors.
On the wall, you talking about the graffiti that he did? You talking about the graffiti? Am I losing you or you losing me, Push? Hello? I may have lost you there, Portia. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you guys that. You can take a
Oh,
look.
John,
Oh, you back. Okay.
Dennison wants to know if this is normal or if he did this out of retaliation.
Uh, Probably a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? But from a landlord perspective, I'm just happy he left. Like beyond that door is all my HVAC equipment. He could have destroyed all that if he so chose, right? In his bathroom, man, he could have destroyed everything if he so chose. I appreciate him for at least cutting the water off when the toilet was leaking. I don't know if you saw it, but I showed you that his 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 toilet was running, so he would cut it off after he used. He didn't fix it, and he could have, but I give him credit for at least cutting it off to keep my water bill from being sky high. So it partly was a little bit of spite and a little bit of uh, just the Antifa anarchist in him. You know what I mean? Do graffiti. You know, he may have had it in his mind, I'll just paint over it. I'm down here. It doesn't matter. Right. But, you know, once I fired him, you know, he wasn't going to repaint it again. But yeah, so it's kind of, that's probably right. Like if he really wanted to do damage, he's skilled enough to do something serious, you know. And that's why I had to tread real
Yeah,
lightly
he
with
could have
him.
did a lot of crazy stuff in that way.
Right. Yeah. You know, he's like I said, and he has
Oh, so they want to
tools.
know why you fired him, John.
The long and short, you know, you can't criticize. Well, the short of it is, I think, you know, he was a white guy. To be fair, you all saw him on the stream, and I ain't gonna say there was some jealousy there. Well, you know, there may have been a little bit of jealousy there, you know, and that's just probably the case in general when you're working for someone. You know what I mean? You know, he's very skilled, but he doesn't have the entrepreneurial bent to take his skill to turn it into a business. So it was always a problem with him because he knew he was very skilled and he could do a lot of things and he could do a lot of things pretty well, but he just became unmanageable. And part of the ways is he was kind of like a imperious, but on the other side of the coin, right? And Antifa like, you know, hence the graffiti and hence the anti-Trump nature and the what else? The anti-Trump, you know, just anti-establishment, Antifa. And so he would often take the side of the guest tenants over me. And I'm like, bro, I'm the one to pay you, right? Like, if at best you need to be neutral, at worst you need to just shut the fuck up, right? And that anti-establishment Antifa focus, and again, he was alone. He's an incel. He didn't have women, and so he didn't have any outlets outside of, you know, more or less doing work and rebelling against the system. And it just became too much for me to manage, you know, too much of a liability, to be honest with you. Because again, he's talking to people who could go talk to the government or decide not to pay me. And the guy that broke that woman's jaw, I don't know if you remember him. Remember that
Yeah,
guy?
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So that was in this house too, right? That's upstairs. And so he was too buddy buddy with those people when they're having that type of domestic violence. You understand? When it, like, you just got to be above the fray, and he down in the muck trying to make heads or tails out of it, and he's taking sides, and he couldn't be neutral, and oftentimes his impartiality had him siding with, you know, the tenants over the big bad slumlord, which was me who paid him, which is amazing, you know. Never hire an Antifa person; they'll always turn against you, no matter how good they are. And you know, he's a former drug addict too. Um, kind of like a flow state or a savage, but he had the raw skills. But he just, you know,
Oh.
loved doing drugs and things like that. He wasn't a drug addict when he worked for me, but you could tell he had been touched a little bit by the drugs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, hence, any other questions, Portia, before I end this one? I saw HBO.
Let's see. Does anybody else have any more questions before John goes?
Still a quarter? Still a quarter? I pick
I'm
up
trying
every
to.
dime, nickel, and penny. That's fine, Portia. I promise.
Y'all have any questions? Anybody?
Lighters. I finally got a lighter. It works. Anybody want these cheese curls? I got cheese curls for you.
Oh, no, thank you, John. No, thank you.
Yeah. But this is not bad, honestly. You know, for most people, this would be like overwhelming, like, oh my God.
Oh, John, so Denizen wants to know if you could estimate about how much is it going to cost for you to, you know, clean up and make the repairs. Are you going to charge someone or are you going to do it yourself?
Shit. I mean, you know that me and that young boy that was on the stream one time sitting behind me, I'd probably go find him. And the city, you know, would pick up all of this trash. All I gotta do is take it outside, right? The city would pick up everything, right, that I don't want in here. And at that point, I'll take more pictures once I clean it all out,
Mhm.
and then it'll be clean. Then shit, I can paint it myself. Paint it. I may do the flooring though. Just put some I forget the name of it. That LVP or whatever. Some new flooring, not new, but fairly new flooring. Take this tile up. Well, I'll just put the LVP on top of the tile. It's easier to clean. And
And also,
I
John,
probably
Gary
change.
wants to know, did you find any burnt spoons?
Nah, he does the Dennis had mentioned the Q-tips earlier today, and he does the dabs, right? If anyone knows what dabs are, that's what he does now, like dabs, right?
A dab?
Yeah, that's how he
What is
smokes
that?
it. It's where he showed you how much money he's making and how much money he's spending. Like it's very expensive marijuana when you have to basically. I think it's constant. Dennis would know better than me. Basically, where you concentrate it and then
Oh,
heat
it's
it up.
funny. Dennison is actually saying what you're saying.
Yeah,
Dennison does know better than you.
yeah, he
I
does.
guess Dennison has some splaining to do.
But you have to use like Q-tips and stuff like that. But yeah, back to Dennis' question. All this trash, what I'm saying, I put it out on the street, and then, like I said, I'll probably put flooring down. But before I do that, I'll just paint it and then put flooring down. And then I'm going to change this sink out in here. I would have done it if I had a real guest in here, but since he was living here, I'm just going to put a floating sink right here. So with no cabinets. So you see the cabinets there, there just won't be any cabinets. But the floating sink, I won't do much to the shower. Just, shine it up a little bit, clean it up. Toilet probably still has a little bit of life left. So if I can clean it up, I'll keep the toilet. But other than that, probably replace the light fixture here too. Other than that, not bad. It'll rent very quickly considering the private
So
baths is what
again,
everyone wants.
how much do you charge? Because you say you do nightly, you don't do monthly. So how much
Yeah.
a night do you charge for this place?
Oh, well, I haven't rented it in so long because I had someone down here. But typically it'd be $65, $75 a night plus a cleaning fee. Um, or more, maybe it just depends how many people are coming, things like that. And if they're booking with me directly or Airbnb. But it's very when I used to listen on Airbnb, it was very popular because of the private bath and the privacy. People tend
Yeah,
people tend to want as much privacy as they can get, and so when they come down the stairs, there's no one here, right? Whereas if you're upstairs, you're gonna have other guests coming in and out while you're here. They may see you going to the bathroom,
right.
stuff like that. So people will typically pay a little bit more for it and rent it more frequently. So here, anyway, I don't know why he took the bed apart. Maybe he broke the bed. I'm not sure, but he didn't have women or anything like that. So he strictly just
Did he have men?
no, no, no. It's crazy. He liked black women. He liked black women, but um, you saw the guy. He had decent height, but again, this is how he liked to live, and so he wasn't going to be able to get many black women living like this. In my opinion, I can't speak, but I did see him with one or two, and this was the other thing. He messed around. He messed around with my guests, and that's like rule number one for me. You can't do that, and he did it, but I let him go with it because again, he's a good worker. But typically, I
What?
should have fired him right then and there. Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, so he started to mess with. Okay, so he's downstairs in the basement, and he
No,
started to
at this
like.
point, he was living upstairs in the room upstairs right here, the one I showed you earlier. He
He
was
would mess with the girls that booked.
just one. It was only one that he
Oh,
messed with,
okay.
right? And I think she had bumped around in two houses, another house around the corner. And when she was here, you know, he messed around with her. And again, a lot of times these women are just doing it for try to curry favor, to try to, get
Yeah.
a place to live, stuff like that. And he was messing with the girl after her reservation. And I come over here and I see her in the house, right? So she didn't have a place to live. right? After she checked out of my place, she's still here in his room, right? So that kind of I can't really allow that to happen.
Universal says so he liked to sample the residents.
Man, I brought people up here from Alabama, and I had to send them back home, man, strictly because of that shit. They would start messing with the tenants, or liking one of them, and start becoming protective and taking their sides. Either with me or with other tenants. They couldn't maintain impartiality, so yeah, I had to send some of them back home.
Well, that's pretty. That's a very interesting story, especially because you said earlier that he actually listens to us. He listens to the show. So,
Yeah.
do you think that he'll feel slighted at all about any of this?
Nah, as I say, one of the things that I would try to impress upon anyone who wants to be a landlord is you have to understand like what position you're in, kind of how to deal with people, and sometimes people have leverage over you, and in other cases they don't, and you can move differently. But in this case, he had a lot of leverage on him. He's in my basement. He's handy. He could destroy anything. And so, it didn't make sense for me to just ride herd on him as if he was just some guy living in a room, not paying rent. I'd had a long working relationship with him. And so from that standpoint, I had to I treaded lighter with him than I probably normally would with someone else, that wasn't paying me for 6 months, so if that makes sense.
Okay, it does. So this is your former, he's moved out. You got to get it all cleaned up. He was there for 6 months and he got paid because he worked for you. Yeah. And now it's time for you to get everything together down there so you can put it back on listing.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I probably list it, and I was thinking about a lot of things. I may share that with you guys.
Because I really like, okay, so the graffiti, like not where you're pointing the camera, but before you get to that, like the one, this other wall to your left, I think, like right there.
No, you like that?
Yeah, I think it's just like because it's a basement, and then especially how you showed us upstairs, it's very complimentary. It's just like it gives it its own kind of vibe. It's really unique. It's really different.
Yeah,
but on the other ones, it's just like if there was some more color there, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he may have been. Like I forgot to mention, he was like a graffiti artist. He's from Baltimore, so all that tagging that they do in subway, up under like bridges and shit like that. He was. I don't know how prolific he was, but he would show me a lot of the tags and stuff he drew. Again, man, he had some talent. I will give him. He did some things in some of my houses because he's lived in all of my houses. At least one night he stayed in all of my houses. While working there, and if he had the right attitude, he could go a very long way. And he knows that, but he just doesn't. That's not. He's Antifa.
Yeah, him not realizing his own potential. So HB
no, he knows. No, he knows.
He knows it, but he just chooses to.
No, he's Antifa. You know what I'm saying? Like he wants to bring the whole thing down.
That's what you said, Antifa.
Right. Yeah, he wants to bring the whole thing down. You know what I'm saying? That's really his goal. That's why he hates.
He's not gonna get far, is he, John?
And he hates white people too, which is ironic. Like he really hates white people, and he's white. Which is ironic.
HB says, "Are you going to change the locks?"
Yeah. Well, there's smart locks on the front doors, and he changed the locks like here, and the one at the top of the stairs. So yeah, I'll just put my smart lock back on there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be so no one. But yeah, I've already changed the codes for the front and back doors though. So he can't get in through those doors. But that's the thing, like he knew all of my codes. So I had to change all of my codes. Every room, every house, and that's kind of the downside of having employees, they end up knowing a little too much about you and your business,
Yeah.
The longer they stay around. Yeah. But anyway, That is a
Well, all right. I don't think anybody have any more questions, or we're gonna let John go.
yeah, it wasn't that bad, right? It wasn't that bad at all.
No, it's not that bad at all. Not from because I was showing other landlords doing what you're doing right now before you came back, and their properties were absolutely destroyed, and yours is beautiful in comparison to what we saw earlier. So,
it starts at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, you have to really trust people to put them in your basement, and then once they're down there, like, you really are at their mercy. To be honest with you. Because again, you see, he changed the locks. He could have barricaded himself in here and just never left. And there would really be nothing I could do. But I played it the right way and I left. But again, one more pointer before you guys go out of here. If you have tenants and you got walls that are brick or stone, you likely will have very little damage done to the walls. As you can see here, there's no damage to that wall. And there's nothing he could do to those concrete walls. So there's always a saving grace there. Well, all right, Push, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and I'll hop back on with you guys.
all right. Thank you, John.
Thank you all for joining. Yep.